When we last spoke about Washington Metro speedrunning, the world record sat at 7 hours and 40 minutes. This run, performed by Zach Lincoln in December 2023, was the first ever sub-8 hour completion following the opening of the Ashburn extension. It was 24 minutes faster than the previous record, an almost unthinkable time save. While several runs in 2024 had gone under 8 hours, as the community began to refine the winning strategy, no one could quite topple Zach's time, with so many runs falling at the hands of delays. The entire year came and went without a new world record. However, now in 2025, the record was finally beaten. Twice. The current time to beat is 7 hours and 34 minutes, as we inch ever closer to the 7.5 hour milestone. Though it's not impossible that we could get to an even lower time before long. Just how low can you go? Let's find out.
Step back, doors closing.
For the sake of brevity, I'll be assuming familiarity with the DC area's rail and bus network, so if you'd like to learn more about that specifically through the lens of speedrunning, go watch my last video. Now, it is one thing to be familiar with all the buses, but that's all about to change. The DC area's bus system is being completely overhauled this summer, with stops being merged, routes renamed, and all sorts of interesting new coverage for suburban trips. So how does this affect the speedrun meta? Remember that for a bus to be useful, it must travel between two faraway metro branches significantly faster than it takes to get between them using the metro, and you must not have to wait too long for the bus. Also note that any stations that you skip must still be collected later, so if it takes you too long to do so, then the bus wasn't really worth it. Finally, these suburb-to-suburb buses tend to be pretty infrequent, so if you miss one or it's delayed, then you could find yourself in a bit of a pickle. It's definitely risky, but when a world record is on the line, good luck with bus timing may just be the deciding factor. Here are a few candidates from the new bus network that I found. The P90 is an interesting new link between King Street and the Southern Green Line branch, but it's not fast enough to be of note. It also joins the Green Line at Suitland, meaning that you'd have to ride an additional one stop to Branch Avenue before heading north. Generally, the fewer vehicles you need to take in your run, the fewer potential delay points you'll have, so this one's probably a no. The classic option for a long time was the 21 operated by The Bus, which is now known as the P52. It's been sped up slightly, but one thing to note as well is that the Silver Line is having its operations changed this summer too. Half of trains will remain as they are, with the other half going towards New Carrollton instead. This will even out the frequency on each of the two branches, which means that having a transfer at Stadium Armory may end up becoming more consistent. So maybe using this bus is now less advantageous. What was previously known as the P12 did make a couple appearances in record-breaking runs, and it's now called the P60. It's very frequent, but it has the same challenges as the Suitland bus from earlier, except doubled. You'd have to go back collecting missed stations at both branches. So while it is rather sneaky, I'd not consider it unless as an absolute last resort. It's also worth mentioning that the frequency has increased, causing the two red line legs at Glenmont. The ride on 10 has been cut, replaced by two Metrobus routes that combine offer service every 15 minutes from Glenmont to North Bethesda. Though the real big X factor, the play that I think we'll start to see a bit more of, is crossing over from New Carrollton all the way to Greenbelt. To do it by metro takes about an hour, and a level change at L'Enfant Plaza, which is especially challenging if you're running with a group. And from what I can tell with past runs, the Green Line seems to be the least reliable on the system, so minimizing the time spent on it may be of appeal. If you look at the map, you may notice that both of these crucial stations are served by the MARC commuter rail system. You may be tempted to think, therefore, that using MARC would be faster than the metro. And you'd be right, though only barely, and only at certain times a day. Greenbelt is on the Camden line, which doesn't have all-day service like the Penn line, which New Carrollton is on, and of course you'd have to change between the two lines at Union Station. Overall, it's far too risky, and I'm yet to see a single completed run involving MARC. Many buses, both now and following the Better Bus upgrades, run between the two branches, but they're all either infrequent, windy, or run from non-terminal stations. This includes the current F4, which will become the P30, that while being very frequent, isn't too fast and goes to Hyattsville Crossing, not Greenbelt, which will add some extra time to your run. The P20 and P21 do link you directly between the two stations, but their routes are so long that you may as well just get the metro instead. So what's the secret sauce here? We again have to turn to a route operated by The Bus, which is at the next number ahead, the P22. A route like this has existed for quite some time, It's about to get sped up by 8 minutes with the consolidation of some stops. That's more than the green line frequency of 6 minutes, so once the P22 is enacted, a run using this route will instantly become an entire cycle faster, which could cascade into further time saves across the rest of the run. So then, here's what I call the God route. Now this route, or a slight variation of it, looks set to become the meta going forward, and it's very similar to the route that was used by the DC Transit Cinematic Universe in their record attempt a few months ago. So here it is. Start at Franconia, then sneak into Huntington on the yellow line, and turn back. If all goes to plan, you'll make it in time for a blue line train, which will take all the way to Largo. Backtrack to Stadium Armory, and get on the next New Carrollton bound train, orange or silver, and hopefully if you time this right, a P22 will be there to take you to Greenbelt. Then ride the entire green line down to Branch Avenue, turn back, and get off at Gallery Place. Now get the red line north to Glenmont, catch the next bus towards North Bethesda, head up to Shady Grove, turn back into town, get off at Farragut North, run to Farragut West, head towards Vienna, then back to East Falls Church where hopefully you don't miss your transfer like Caleb and friends, then finally sit back, relax, and hopefully you've done enough to make it to Ashburn in record time. Phew. So how long does this take? Well, the total time spent in vehicles is 6 hours and 33 minutes, and there's 16 of them, so you have 15 transfers or turnbacks to make. Let's say that each one takes an average of 3 minutes and you found good times, so adding on another 45 minutes, you get to a time of 7 hours and 18 minutes. Obviously, delays are inevitable, so I think it'll take a lot of luck to get a time like that. That said, these times don't account for potential speedups from automatic train operation. WMATA hope to restore ATO system-wide in the coming months, though there have recently been delays notably on the green and yellow lines. It is a little bit difficult to estimate what the time save would be, though I think we'll especially see a huge reduction on the western legs of the orange and silver lines, where stop spacing is wider and trains should spend more time at top speed. Should ATO fully come back, I don't think it's impossible that by the end of the year, a sub 7 hour route is not just found in schedules, but is also performed in real life. The pieces are slowly but surely coming together, but needless to say, I'm really excited to see where we go from here. Now that would be a nice place to end the video, but there is one other small matter to discuss. In a couple years, the Purple Line was hoped to begin service, a new orbital light rail line that will speed up travel between 4 metro branches and places in between. Now it must be stressed that despite having the same naming conventions as the DC Metro, this is not a DC Metro line. It's not even operated by WMATA, so you won't have to include it in a speedrun, though there are places where it'll be helpful. The Purple Line effectively has 3 main segments, which I've labeled A, B, and C. The A segment, from Bethesda to Silver Spring, will be heavily grade separated, thus likely to be quite fast. But given that neither stop is close to the ends of the red line, you have to do a lot of backtracking. So I think the bus from Glenmont to North Bethesda might still be marginally faster than the Purple Line in a speedrun context. The B segment, between Silver Spring and College Park, already has a fairly quick metro connection thanks to Fort Totten. And once again, you'd have the problem of needing to backtrack. So ultimately, I think only the C segment will end up being useful for speedrunning. Remember that as of this summer, it'll take 32 minutes to get from New Carrollton to Greenbelt with the bus. So accounting for needing to go one stop to Greenbelt and turn back, the Purple Line would need to take around 25 to 30 minutes to get from New Carrollton to College Park for it to be faster than the bus, assuming no long waits. Of course, it'll be far more frequent than the bus, and before long yellow line trains will start running to Greenbelt again, both of which should strengthen the case. In a sense, my so-called God route is just prepping us for the Purple Line. Simply sub it in once it's open. Either way, go subscribe to the Purple Line channel on YouTube. They're super active and seem to be very proud of this project that will be very transformative for suburban transit when it's done. All this speedrunning talk can sometimes make us forget just how vital these transit services are, but I'd argue that competitions like this are a form of advocacy in their own right. While your motives may be different from the average commuter, college student, or just a local heading to the mall, studying the schedules and keeping track of on-time performance does make you aware of what places need more reliable service, and hopefully that inspires you to push for change in your community. And as I mentioned in my previous video, riding an entire transit system the whole way gives you a taste of every neighborhood that it serves, which places have strong ridership, and maybe some where it may not be as high as you'd hope. While all the transit challenges I do are primarily for fun, I also hope that they can get people excited about transit and paint things in a more positive light amidst all the bad press that many transit agencies constantly have to battle, in a time when they're quite literally hanging on for dear life. The DC Metro Speedrun Challenge continues to capture the minds of many, and every new record is universally celebrated when all the pieces come together. when the agony of delays becomes the jubilation of a plan being fully realized. Sub 7 hours is coming. Get excited.